Considering the conniving, backstabbing, twisty nature of who Blake Lively's character is in this film, I don't know if you could have a more oddly timed release than this one. Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. I'm a bit delayed. As I said, I'm just burning through the movies that I've seen. A Simple Favor 2 has released. It came out directly to Amazon Prime at the start of May, I believe. I was a big fan of the original Simple Favor. For those who don't know, it is from director Paul Feig, who is probably best known for his 3-film run of Heat, Bridesmaids, and Spy. He was knocking those comedies out of the park. And then Ghostbusters came out. I will leave comments about how I feel about that because I don't want to start a war. But the return on investment that he's been giving lately of directing films has not been the greatest. However, there's for me, a little caveat that comes in there in A Simple Favor Part 1. I love that film. It's dark, twisted, humor is like a black comedy. It's like that pulpy, almost like The Menu, although The Menu lends a little bit more horror. This is a bit more mystery. It's a film that ended in sort of this perfect bow, that you got to see what happened to Stephanie, played by Anna Kendrick, and you got to see what happened to Emily, played by Blake Lively, and their interactions with each other. Perfect bow. Didn't seem like we needed to go back to this world. Because of that, it puts this film, another Simple Favor, behind the 8 ball, in that it has to spend a great deal of time untying the bow that original movie ended on, and making characters and decisions and story that just doesn't make sense for characters to end up in this beautiful locale for reasons only because the script says to. The locale is gorgeous. Capri, stunning. It is a beautifully shot film. It's just explaining how Stephanie, Emily, and anybody else who's sort of in their orbit ends up there versus where they were before. Takes a lot for the brain to sort of get ahead of and get a part of. And so even if the script of this was good, which it's not, there's a lot of logic that has to sort of be untangled and intertwined, and based on the information that we got from these characters from the original film, don't make sense for them to do what they do in this film. Stephanie being the biggest one of them. I think it had been established in the first film that both Stephanie and Emily were great mother bears. They would sort of do whatever they needed to do for their kids. And this movie opens trying to get us to believe that Stephanie is going to leave her son at a camp, because we can't explain why that kid doesn't end up in Capri either. We have to sort of separate her, and she's just going to leave there and go with Emily, and none of it makes sense. And so you get a lot of these, like, I mean, I guess, sure, I'll accept that, but in the back of your mind, the entire time you're just like, this doesn't jive with where I'm at, with what these characters do. I will say this: the good thing that sort of does exist in this film, anytime Stephanie, anytime Emily are on screen together, they work. Blake and Anna have a great chemistry. Will they, won't they? Do they hate each other? Do they love each other? Chemistry still works. That's about the only thing that I sort of enjoyed about this film. I think this movie takes some of the good things that the first film did, and then sort of tries to stretch them out even more, and becomes borderline, where that movie was campy and the comedy came out of dark humor. This tries to be comedic and almost slapstickish, where it just doesn't work. The characters that sort of come in the back end of this film, I don't want to spoil too much, but Blake is asked to do more double duty than she was in the first film. And in that, creates a character that is just like, what is this? How did we get here? And with her audition and Allison Janney's audition, they feel like they are in a different style of comedy versus anybody else that's a part of this film. And so it doesn't feel like it's that pulpy black humor. It just feels like it's an outright comedy. And because it feels like it's an outright comedy, it's not funny enough to do that. So between having the just unorthodox way that all these characters have to end up in Capri, and then sort of this slapsticky nature that comes of some of these situations, it's just not as fun as the first film. I think some of it is the been there, done that situation. But it when you have an original that one isn't amazing, mind blowing, but I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. You take that and try to recreate that again. It feels a little bit like not as still think Ocean's 12 has a better return on investment and is a better film overall than this. But it feels like that from Ocean's 11 to Ocean's 12. This feels like that from Simple Favor to another Simple Favor, where it's just a lesser film. And the biggest thing you sort of walk away with is, other than getting a vacation, what was the purpose of this film? Like, nothing new comes out of it. If this movie were removed and we just had a Simple Favor, would we all be better for it? The answer is yes. This feels like we're just going to go back to this world because we like these characters, but don't have a strong enough story to kind of revisit this. And it leaves it open-ended that we're going to get another one. I just hope that they spend a little bit more time fleshing out these characters, making things make sense. They've put characters now where the bow isn't as tight as it was from 1 to 2, where it feels so closed-ended. This one feels a lot more open-ended. So the ability to go to a third one is a lot more easier than it would be from 1 to 2. But that said, I would say this: if you did not like A Simple Favor the first time, you're not going to enjoy this at all. And if you did like it or loved it, like sort of I did, this is going to be several steps down from that. And so if you're going in to sort of see moments of just Stephanie and Emily going tit for tat, you're going to get a couple of those. But then you're also going to get some stuff where Blake's playing a different version of these sisters, and you're going to be like, what the hell? How did I get here? So on my scale of play it again, Sam, I didn't mind that. Once is enough, or give me a time stone so I never have to think about this again. This is a once is enough. It's not bad enough to be give me a time stone and erase my brain. I have some enjoyable moments. I chuckled a couple of times, but overall, I'm never going to revisit this again. If I'm going to go see these characters back, I'm going to go watch the original and watch them do the stuff that I sort of loved there, as opposed to trying to just repeat and live off the legacy of the first one, which this film tries to do a lot. There are a lot of, I will say this too: if you have not seen the original, don't watch this movie, because there are a lot of callbacks that I like it when films do this, where they just call back without you, with assuming that the audience has seen it, but they do it so often in this that there are jokes, that's the hardest piece. It's easier if you're doing story beats that existed in the first one and come back here, but there are actual jokes that happen in the first film that they don't explain or set up again here, and you're supposed to assume that you've already watched that. Works for me, but if you're a person coming in blindly to that, this ain't gonna be the movie for you. You're gonna hate this even more because they just expect you to come in with that knowledge. But what did you guys think about Another Simple Favor? Go ahead and leave your thoughts and comments in the comments below. Are you excited for, I guess, the open-ended finale where we possibly will get a third Simple Favor? I'm not. What about you? Go ahead and leave your thoughts and comments in the comments below. If you haven't already, you can follow us on X at HollywoodADI. You can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com. We also have a podcast with the same name. That's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere the place podcasts. We're there. And like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.